Hello and welcome back to Calradia 1403, and I've changed our equipment rather considerably now, and that means I've gained some armor. Obviously, as you can see right here, we've pretty considerably changed our armor. I just went around a bunch of the different towns trying to uncover as much really good stuff as I could. And what I also did was I purchased a new weapon. Now, this is the weapon I'm talking about. I also purchased a sidearm as well, by the way, so we may in fact be able to defeat enemies if we get unmounted, which obviously is pretty good. I think that's a pretty good idea, isn't it? Anyway, what we're going to have to do is actually going to have to move a little bit closer here, because unfortunately it looks as though our archers are not close enough to be able to do anything, so we're going to have to move them a bit closer to them just to get into effective range. Unfortunately, the enemy is taking up a massive defensive position. Not entirely sure why they're doing this, to be honest, but, you know, that's up to them. And I'm hopeful that my new weapon is going to be fantastic. I mean, you could see here, it's doing piercing damage, and yeah, we're actually doing some pretty nice hits. Not a huge amount most of the time on higher level opponents, but I'm very much hoping that that is going to be changing when we gain a little bit more skill, because obviously skill is pretty much, you know, that's a pretty big deal. You know, if you have a lot of weapon skill with RBM, you're going to have a much better time of things. So I'm very much hoping that we're going to be able to level up quite nicely. But yeah, otherwise, we're just going to tell these guys to charge in. Just tell the infantry to charge in here. Technically, I could tell them just to stay in a shield wall formation, but I kind of have a bit of a time limit here, because we do have the cavalry coming in on us as well. And, well, let's face it, anytime we have cavalry attempting to flank our archers, it's pretty likely they're going to pick off a couple or two. You know, one or two, shall we say. And we don't really want that, you know? So if I can... Yeah, oh wow, yeah, no, we just completely obliterated them, didn't we? Yeah, we certainly did. And them running into our infantry here as well, that is a foregone conclusion. That is 100% death, as you can see. Look at that. That is absolutely crazy. I love seeing that, actually. That is one of the greatest things that you can see as a Rhodoks player. You just stand there. You just stand there with your infantry and you just absolutely murder. And you can see here, yeah, it's just an absolute massacre. So I'm just gonna speed all the way through, and we are gonna end up losing 2 people, which is not really bad. Just two Rhodoks spearmen. I mean, personally, okay, look, I don't really care if we lose people. If we do lose people right now, that only means that we have a very small setback. Very small setback, because this is very early on in the game still. That's something that we have to remember. It is not end game or anything like that. I'm not trying to go on any kind of battling spree, even though, you know, if I see another you know, vassal or something like that, I'm gonna get them, you know. I'm gonna try to attack them as best as I can. Now, bear in mind, this is what I have purchased, just so that you can see exactly what I'm wearing here. So we have the Imperial Noble Great Helm, and that gives us 165 head armor, 119 body armor. Absolutely crazy. I also found ornate pauldrons with cape. Probably the best cape I have ever seen, which is pretty crazy. And then we also have, obviously, as you know, we found this in the previous episode, Western early plate armor, and then we obviously have the Western noble fine steel plate mittens, and then I found these Western mail chaucers with leather straps, and this is crazy good. 73 leg armor. Hopefully it's going to make a big difference. I'm actually going to be... Should I... so that's the question now, that's the question. Do we want to use increase melee damage against mounted troops or increase charge damage by 20%? The charge damage is only for me, whereas the melee damage is for my infantry. You know what? Let's use the melee damage. I think that's probably the best course of action. Let's take all the loot, and we'll get out of there. And yeah, so this is what we're currently facing. We're at war against the GEROIAN, because for some reason we decided to make peace against the Sarranids. I don't know why. It's probably because we weren't getting any kind of... no kind of inroads, no aggression from our vassals for some reason. I actually don't know why that is. Going to take meaningful favors in the charm skill tree here, even though for me personally I do feel as though most of the time charm skill is really not very useful. Yeah, you know, if you take a look at it right here, you see here, this just gives you more relation gain, less influence cost, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't really do much. This is a barter penalty decrease, which again is really not going to do much. Good natured is pretty decent because you do get your influence back when a supported proposal fails to pass, which is okay, you know, that's all right. Not too bad. And then obviously moral leader or natural leader. These are really, really good in my opinion, just because -1 persuasion success. That basically means that you're going to have a much easier time of persuading vassals to, well, basically marriage is easier. Anytime you enter a persuasion minigame, it's easier, and it's just great like that. Otherwise, you have Parade, which, again, +5 loyalty, absolutely fantastic, unless you want to get +30% renown gain from battles, but bear in mind, Parade only works while waiting in a settlement. But this can be extremely impactful for stabilizing a newly conquered fief. So, pretty useful there. And otherwise, we have Camaraderie here, which doubles the relation gain for helping lords in battle. I personally don't see a point in that, but maybe it's good. Maybe it's good, I don't know. And then you have Immortal Charm, of course, which does give you +5 influence per day. I have to admit, though, I do think that that is a little bit... I don't really want to be too harsh about it, because it's not actually bad, but it is a little bit of a departure from the other kinds of perks, right? Because we have a load of perks that scale off a certain amount of skill points in that particular perk tree. For example, you know, looting skill, right? Like roguery skill right here. As you can see, it says 1% +1% loot amount for every skill point above 200. But charm skill just has a flat +5 influence. I'm pretty sure it was different, actually. That's the funny thing. I am pretty sure that that was changed some time ago. And it used to be that it did scale with your charm skill. And for me personally, I feel like it should scale just because every other really, really high level perk does tend to scale, and I feel like it's a, you know, it's a bit of a departure from the
Stop there.
The design tenet, you know what I mean? Because that's basically the entire thing, you know. They're trying to impart that all the time, every single time you you know, get to 275, it's scaling so that you feel inclined to level it even more, which I have to admit is pretty cool, because that means that you have a bit more incentive to do that. But as it stands right now, we obviously don't. So there is that. Anyway, look at what we got here. Look at this crazy helmet. This is insane for body armor, but I'm not going to use it just because I want to keep my my head armor here. But you can see here that we could potentially give this to Svala, which might actually make sense. So yeah, we're going to do that. She looks absolutely ridiculous, by the way, as you could quite clearly tell. She looks ridiculous just because she's using so many different... Okay. I have found the best shoes that I have seen so far. These are crazy. Wow. I am so surprised right now. I am so surprised. Okay, yeah, let me just give her these. There we go. Give her my old stuff, of course. And then... Oh, wait. There's even better. 99? Wait. No, I'm using 110. This is 99. This is even better for her. Wow, this is... Whoa. Okay. Can you... This is what's so funny about this. I was searching, as I said to you at the beginning, I was searching through all these random marketplaces trying to find some really cool armor and stuff, and I did manage to. And then in a random battle, we get some crazy cool stuff. Oh yeah, that's actually what I really love about sandbox games in situations like that, because most of the time you're going to think to yourself, oh yeah, a vassal with 36 people, there's no way. There's no way he's going to give you anything good, right? No, he's not going to give you anything good. No, no, no. But yeah, he actually did. He actually did. He gave us something so incredibly good that I am now absolutely blown away by how crazy good it actually was. It is insane. That is so, so cool. Anyway, what we're going to do, just do this. There we go, 36,000. And yeah, I'm going to try to get into some battles with some of these GEROIAN vassals. This is actually what I've been attempting to do in this episode so far. But, of course, you know, as you might expect, things don't necessarily go the way that you want them to most of the time. It very much depends, obviously, because there were 2 vassals that wanted to attack me, but of course I couldn't allow them to do that, because otherwise that would be over 200 people that would be attacking us. However, I'm actually now thinking maybe we would have been able to defeat them. I found Desporion. Yes, Desporion is about to feel a bunch of Desperion. Yeah, I know. Anyway, let's actually make our way over here, shall we? Because this guy is no way, he's not going to take the offensive, is he? There's no way in any sense of the word that he's going to take aggression here. Because he is 100%, he has, you know, 129 people, but I have taken a look at his army composition. I have no idea why he's even running around with these guys, but he's running around with some pretty terrible units. Let me actually just see if I can get these people over here. There we go, the infantry and the archers over there, and that should be absolutely fine. Now, we are going to put these in a loose formation as well. I always wonder whether we should probably put our infantry into a loose formation too, because then that actually provides a much greater spread for our infantry to potentially stop cavalry, because if they obviously attack them appropriately with a nice little thrust attack, they can potentially stop them in their tracks, like I've shown multiple times before in the previous couple of episodes. Now, let me just see. We are... Oh, what? Are they literally throwing rocks at me right now? I believe they are. What are these guys? Are these guys... Are they peasants? Because I didn't see any peasants in his army. I just saw watchmen and maybe the hired thugs. Yeah, he does have a couple of hired thugs. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's maybe that's the case. But yeah, as you can see, we do have some crossbowmen here. Yeah, these guys are getting absolutely massacred, as you could tell. And I'm actually... Yeah, no, here they come, Okay. So let's actually just move these guys a little bit closer here. I'm going to put them into a shield wall as well. I actually want to see how this goes. I mean, this is one of the really, really cool things about RBM, and this is definitely one of the things that I very much appreciate about it, is that armor actually matters a lot. Because I know, I didn't actually used to be a fan of RBM. I was one of those people that didn't really like it that much because it made the AI supernaturally good at blocking and stuff like that, and nowadays it doesn't feel as shall we say artificial as it used to. So maybe they've done some tweaks on it since then, because let's face it, the last time you know, well, shall we say the time before last of me using RBM, I didn't really like it that much, because it was very, and it was many years ago, actually. It was many years ago that I used it, the time before last, because the previous time that I used it, I actually liked it quite a bit. So, you know, there's that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that because they've done refinements over the years, and they've made you know, changes and improvements and so on and so forth to the mod, I actually feel like it is not as harsh as it used to be, and I feel like the native AI is actually harsher now. I think maybe it is probably more unnatural than RBM is, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. But obviously, it's very much dependent on what you like, you know, because if you like, you know, the way that RBM does things with the armor and the way that damage is calculated, then obviously that's great, you know, then you like that. But if you don't, then, well, native is there, you know, you can indeed use native, and that's absolutely fine. However, the one thing that I really, really appreciate about RBM is that when you put on a big suit of armor, and I'm talking about what I'm currently wearing right now, you know, look at this. Look at how insanely tanky I look right now. It looks fantastic, and I love it. You know, when I put something on like this, I think to myself, okay, I really, really feel like I am unstoppable. Or at least not unstoppable, but I feel like I am very well protected, and I shouldn't die super, super easily, right? Well, that's the funny thing. If you run around on a battlefield and you're wearing this in, you know, in native, you're probably going to die relatively quickly, just because of the way that damage is calculated. You know, obviously it's going to take a lot longer for you to die than normal, because, you know, you're wearing a very, very good set of armor. But I do have to say that the damage calculation really does make a big difference to survivability. And yeah, sure, it does make battles slightly longer, because obviously RBM is indeed active on every single character in the game. So of course, when you're in a battle, your own forces are going to be much harder to kill, but the enemies are also going to be much harder to kill. So there's also that. Anyway, we're back at Ortisia here, just going to sell some more people. My roguery skill is just leveling so incredibly slowly. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, it's always like that nowadays, isn't it? It's always like that. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but every single time I try to level up something, it never actually works out super, super well, because I am consistently in a situation like this where I just have barely any level ups whatsoever. It's actually hilarious. I don't actually know why that is. Anyway, let's go into the tournament. Let's have a little bit of a refresher here instead of me just running around fighting vassals and things. I do have this new perk, by the way, and this is indeed a main tournament now, by the way, as well, because we have a much stronger character than we had beforehand. But yeah, anyway, I do have a new perk that allows me to spend double the amount of cash in the tournaments, and I gotta say, I actually really appreciate. Oh, my horse is just dead immediately. Oh, okay, well that's interesting. Well, this is gonna be funny, because I have a mace, and these guys are not really gonna be able to do too much to me, I don't think. Or maybe they will. There we go. Yes. There we go. Yes, you cannot do anything to me. I am literally a royal peasant. Because that is literally what I feel like right now. I feel like a royal peasant, mostly because I am wearing some of the best armor I've ever seen, and yet I feel like, well, yes, as you can quite clearly tell, I feel like I am still extremely inexperienced in regards to our skill. You know, our skill level is so low that my one-handed is literally at 60. That just goes to show. Okay, we might have a bit of an issue here. I kind of hope that we're going to get... Are we actually even going to get through to the next round? Because I am consistently taking these 2 versus 1s, which is not really good. Am I through? I think we might be through. Yeah, I think... maybe? I'm actually not entirely sure. Let's have a look. I think Svala is... Whoa, Svala is killing everyone! Did you see that? Svala is killing everyone! Okay, yeah, no, she absolutely carried that entire round. That is hilarious. Okay, yeah, so I have a crossbow now. Let's see if I can... Oh, okay, I'm overcompensating massively now for the crossbow, because I am consistently thinking that it's going to be terrible. Okay, let me see. Fire. There we go. Oh, nice! Look at that! I did 2 damage! I can't believe it! I am so incredibly pleased. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna switch to my... Oh, 2 damage on a crossbow. Wow. Okay, I was kind of hoping that my crossbow would do a little bit more damage, but no. Okay, this is gonna be not so good, because Svala is... Oh no, Svala is dead, and I'm up against 2 enemies. This is bad. This is bad news. Oh, if I had known, I would not have gotten into melee. Oh dear. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they've got maces as well. Well, at least the one guy did. Oh, we did qualify. How did we qualify? Oh, okay. Apparently we qualified. Okay, well, that's good. I am literally just going to go into melee. There is really no point in me using crossbow against these guys, apparently. Not sure why, but yeah. There we go. Good damage, good damage. I say good damage, which is quite funny because technically it isn't actually good damage. We're only doing 8 or something, but basically I say good damage whenever we stagger the opponent. That's basically it. Because if you could stagger the opponent, you're basically preventing them from attacking, and that is entirely the point. You want to stagger them as much as you possibly can. Now we're up against Svala herself. I'm actually a little bit afraid here because she seems quite strong. And I'm hopeful that she's not going to be so strong that she's going to be insanely impossible for me to kill. This could be a really good way for us to level up, by the way. Because the more she blocks and the more I block, the more we level. So technically I could exacerbate this kind of dramatically, maybe. Maybe just wait for her to block and things like that, but I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that without necessarily getting myself killed. So I should probably just go for it, shouldn't I? But she is actually doing a fantastic job, as you can see right here. And it's funny as well because I'm wearing such good armor, and yet she's still able to do massive damage to me just purely because she is using a mace. That does make a big, big difference. There we go. Come on now. Murder. Murder. Yes. Maybe. Maybe. Are we actually going to be able to kill her even? Because it feels to me like I'm going to lose. But we are leveling up quite nicely, as you can tell. Yes. There we are. Nice, nice. There's my... Yeah, there we go. I almost got to 75 in one-handed. We had 49, didn't we, when we started this tournament? So that's exactly the reason why I wanted to come in here. Also, look at my renown gain. My renown gain is crazy. We got 11? How did I get 11? I actually have no idea. I've got to say, I have no idea how we got 11, because from what I know about this, we only have the ability to have 6 renown. But maybe, wait a minute, do the rewards? The rewards don't count, right? I mean, look, it says, wait a minute, where is it? Oh no. Is it roguery? Yeah, there we go. Double the amount of betting allowed in tournaments. That is literally the thing that I just got. So that doesn't say anything about improving the amount of renown that you get. So that's really strange because I've never ever gotten 11 renown from a tournament, which is very weird because you can see here that, yeah, sure, we've got self-promoter that gives us +3 whenever a tournament is won. +3 is, you know, basically, maybe it's because it's the main tournament. It might be because it's the main tournament and we're getting double. Oh yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, yeah, fine. That might actually be the case. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, that's nice because that basically means that because it's the main tournament, we are getting some pretty cool things. Yeah, we're getting a pretty nice reward for that. I'm very surprised actually. But yeah, that's great. And now I'm actually going to be recruiting a bunch of extra troops here because we do have a much larger party size thanks to the 2 perks that we just gained. So that's great too. And actually, yeah, I'm gonna make a brief stopover in Lagata here. Mostly because if we go over to Lagata, they're most likely going to have their marketplace completely refreshed by now. And then we're going to see. So let's have a look. Okay, I already sold my prisoners, of course. So let me actually just see here. Okay, yeah, so this is what we got from the tournament. Pretty terrible. So I'm just going to sell that right away. I don't really see a point in keeping it. And then we can sell some of this stuff as well. As you can see here, 46,000. I'm just going to sell some of the lesser good stuff. Sell all of this. And there we have it. 37,000. Very, very nice indeed. And look at that. We almost have 1 million in gold. I mean, technically we have 800,000, so it's not technically almost, but I mean, you know, it's pretty good. You know, it's pretty good. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm actually very surprised, to be honest, that we are having such a difficult time, well, or shall we say the Rhodoks are having such a difficult time against the GEROIANs, because they don't seem particularly powerful right now. I'm actually wondering... Ah, I see. Okay. So basically their entire thing is using mercenary units for the most part. Okay, that makes sense. Huh. Hecaron, do you want to come in here with me? No, he's probably not going to want to do that, is he? No, he's going to be standing here and then waiting for these guys to come out, and then there they are. Okay, so technically, I might be able to defeat this guy. What do you think? Yeah, actually, you know what? I might be able to... I mean, he's got 190, right? He's got 190. There are loads of vassals in here. Hired sharpshooters. You know what? Let me actually have a look at the hired sharpshooters. There they are. Okay, they're not that good. How many does he have of these? Only 11? Okay, yeah, I think we have the possibility of doing this. I think we could make it, okay? I think we could make it. This is 190 versus 84. This is pretty significant. So if we can pull this off, I am going to be very, very happy indeed. If we can't, then, well, then it's just very sad, isn't it? Yes, then it will just be very sad. So let me just see here. Let's put these guys into a loose formation just ahead of time. And let's move on to the hill here. Bit of a weird bit of terrain here, but this is actually pretty good. Ah, yeah, that seems to be the wall. Okay. Let's see what I can do here then. Let's go somewhere like this. This seems pretty decent, and my mouse cable is doing some weird stuff, so that's great. As you could quite clearly tell by the camera. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Okay, so yeah, let's just put these guys up here. And we could put these fellows somewhere like that, put them into a shield wall as well, and then we'll just speed everything up, because the enemy is no doubt going to be taking the offensive, and they're going to try to murder us very, very dramatically, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so let's just see whether they're gonna decide on this. They might decide on it. Maybe. They might decide on it. Or they might not. Yeah, no, they're doing it. They're doing it. Alright. Okay, so let's actually have a look here. I'm just going to move these guys a little bit more. I should probably put them closer to the crossbowmen, but I have a bit more faith that our crossbowmen will be absolutely fine by themselves. So we shouldn't need to worry about them too much, as you can see. Because the main concern that I have right now is actually having our infantry win against the enemy's infantry, because that is the biggest threat, in my opinion. I think that's the biggest threat, at least. So let's see if we can actually do something. I mean, the funny thing is, the enemy's crossbowmen do seem to be completely and utterly useless right now, which is good for us. And yeah, you can see here, shield wall formation is just absolutely hilariously good. Is it though? Is it hilariously good? I'm gonna tell my people to charge in right now, because it feels to me like some of them are not actually fighting, and we don't really want that. We want everyone to fight if they can. So I'm just gonna try to do that if possible. And I'm just going to try to pick off a couple of people that I can. Anytime I can see a cavalry person that is relatively close by, I am just going to poke them in the face. And that is what we want, isn't it? Yes, that is what we want. We always want to do as much damage as we possibly can. Anytime there is an opportunity, we're just going to slide in behind them. You know, just slide in behind them, penetrate them, that's exactly what we want, you know. That is exactly what we want. If we cannot do that, then we have failed. You know, we have failed as a giver of satisfying feelings. Yes, indeed. Yeah, but that's it. That is indeed a victory for us. That is 100% a victory. I am going to be telling all of our people to charge in now, because there is no point not doing that. And hopefully we'll be able to, well, we're going to be releasing, aren't we? We're going to be releasing all these vassals. And the funny thing is, these guys might have actually been able to do something if they just moved their crossbowmen a little bit closer. I think that was the main issue here. You know, if they hadn't left their crossbowmen all the way back here, which is kind of weird in itself, because why would you leave, you know, a substantial portion of your forces all the way back in, well, basically no man's land? There's nothing here, and they can't possibly do anything. You know, there's no way that they're going to be able to do anything from this distance, because, well, I mean, you see what they see from here, right? Look, I mean, look at their perspective. This is their perspective right here. I have no idea how they were even able to shoot anything, and the answer is they weren't. They weren't able to shoot anything. They literally just got themselves murdered, or shall we say, got their infantry murdered and cavalry and so on, and that was it. And that is game over for them. That is 100% game over. Oh, wait. Oh, no, never mind. He had his shield ready. Of course he did. Of course he did. Oh, that was some nice damage. Unfortunately, it hit him in the head, but that was not good enough. As I said before, though, RBM basically makes it so that every single piece of armor has like a durability to it. And if you hit that particular piece of armor multiple times, then it's going to become degraded. And over time, you're then going to be able to do more and more damage to that particular armor piece. So that's the reason why, you know, battles last a little bit longer. Obviously, there are indeed other factors to take into account that I'm not mentioning right here, but, you know, that's just one thing that I've noticed over the course of the time using it. Anyway, I believe that is indeed it, and, yeah, we should probably... I'm not entirely sure. Speed things up, I guess. Just speed things up a little bit, and that is a victory. There we go! They decided to retreat, and we ended up losing, well, not much at all. We lost one sergeant, and that's pretty much it. And just some lower tier units. That's not bad at all. 30 renown, 52 influence. That is all we care about. Oh yeah, because look at that. Bear tilled level 3. Absolutely fantastic. We can let all these guys go. I don't really care about the charm skill that much, to be honest, but the relation gain could be useful in the future. I don't really know what it's going to be particularly for, to be honest. I really don't. You know, these kinds of situations, I'm always kind of questioning myself and thinking, why am I letting them go? You know, there really isn't that much point in letting them go, because all that's going to happen is they're just going to, well, create massive armies and then come at us that much more, you know, and it's going to be somewhat problematic. So yeah, that might be a problem, but well, there's not much else that I can really do with that. I just kind of have to let it happen, and it's a way for us to make more money as well. We can actually make more money. I have to be... Okay, there we go. I was going to say, I have to be very careful there. I was about to be attacked by 300 people. Actually, you know what? I might have even been able to defeat those guys, which is actually quite funny to even think about that. Because I personally never would have thought that I'd be able to defeat about 200 people. But again, this is one of those times where you think to yourself, okay, look, this is the reason why we're able to do this, because we're using higher tier units. Every single one of our people is high tier, and that's the thing that's making... Well, not every single one of our people, of course, because if that was the case, we'd be, you know, relatively unstoppable. You know, we'd have a load of, you know... Basically, we would be able to take on enemies that are, what, 4 times as strong as us or something like that, because we just have so many plate users. And that is indeed the point. That's the reason why RBM is pretty fun to play with at this point as well, because we do have those situations where we can just take those harder battles, you know, very, very difficult battle. And it's just because of my sharpshooters and my sergeants. They are the reason that we're able to do this. Because look at the sergeants. They're wearing insane gear right here. Obviously not the cape. Not the cape at all, but everything else they're wearing is amazing. It's very, very good. And also the Rhodoks as well. The Rhodoks. The sharpshooters, of course. The sharpshooters are, of course, wearing really, really good stuff too. And again, that's entirely the reason, in my opinion at least, why we're having such a good time here. Because there's no way... Yeah, in native, I think we might have been okay. Very much depends. But I think it definitely helps. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.